Russ Frustrate, don't get scared.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
There's a skeleton door.
There's a skeleton door. I know it's scared. Listen, we're about to face the horrors.
You have a sword, so you're good.
It's a dirk.
Oh.
It's like a baby's sword.
A baby sword.
We're about to face down the living castle, Shadowgate, and the horrors, the mini horrors within. But I'm going to be your guide on this adventure, on this Mac venture, because this is thoroughly trod ground for this guy. I know my way around a Shadowgate. So I guess to be specific, we're checking out the remake of Shadowgate, which is coming out this week because this video is going up on Monday, and it's by Zoojoy, which is a new company that is made up of some of the people who actually worked on the old Mac Venture games. And let me just start out by saying I was kind of blown away because I've played this game quite a bit now, and I was looking for somebody to do the video with me, and I was like, "Come on, Polygon, what's up, guys? Who's hot for Shadowgate? Who knows all about Shadowgate that wants to do this with me?" And like nobody's played it. I thought it was like a formative. This was a formative gaming experience for me.
I played Manhole. You remember Manhole?
I don't know.
So I will admit the only time that I played Shadowgate was on a Game Boy Color remake of it.
Okay.
It was the same game.
All of those ports were so like they were basically the exact same thing.
Right.
They were the Mac Venture games.
Yeah.
I think Kimco brought them to NES, and by Mac Venture games, I'm talking about Shadowgate, Deja Vu, and Uninvited. I actually haven't played Uninvited. I really want to. It basically seems like Shadowgate, but in a haunted mansion.
Yeah.
So Zoojoy kickstarted this remake of Shadowgate, which obviously looks nothing like the original. Although I meant to do it while I was capturing this video, and I just forgot to. There are actually options where you can change it so the original soundtrack and sounds are playing, and like the text appears
that's
how it
cool.
appeared in the original, and like the transition screens, like you get these good like NES wipes that happen between screens, which is really, really neat. So I forgot to do it, but it is like a really nice effect. But I mean, what they've done for this enhancement is actually pretty good. What you can't hear now is not that I think the nostalgia factor would do anything for you, but it has like a fully orchestral soundtrack based on the original, which is like really, I don't know, man. I was such a super fan of the NES version of Shadowgate, and hearing that music that I heard so much of growing up. I don't know. It's nice to hear it back in its remastered format. So
it is weird to look at it because it's obviously like of its time. Like these games don't exist anymore.
No, they super don't. It's not even like the Mac Venture games. If you never played them, were sort of one of a kind. They were first-person adventure games that were, I would say, like purposefully kind of obtuse.
Yeah,
like they were hard, and like make no bones about it. This remake is still super hard. It's very difficult. There's a lot of like not obvious solutions to everything. Within like an hour of playing the game, you will have this catalog of items and spells and these letters, which I just found a couple of, which almost all of them have hints, very heavily veiled hints on how to solve puzzles, but you don't know like what they do. You find these spells which don't have the same like names as the spells in the original Shadowgate. So even if you've played it before, it's not like you know everything starting out. I've actually gotten pretty stuck a few times.
Sure.
Some knowledge just carry over. For instance, I knew at this altar to punch the wall behind it, and there's a secret entrance in there.
As you do.
I did try to take the book.
Oh, big mistake.
That's like Shadowgate 101. I think that might actually be the first possible death scenario in the game. So that's another thing that the ICOM simulations, the developers of the Mac Venture games, sort of one thing they all had in common is you can die a bunch. And this screen scared the living shit out of me as a kid. Grim Reaper and scary music, and then like detailed descriptions of how like a werewolf just tore you limb from limb. No, thank you. So I'm just gonna duck in that hole real quick. And then another, I guess, Polygon pro tip, if you walk in that room, you'll be killed by an arrow.
Sure.
So now I know. This game is very quickly like sort of establishing itself as like a Dark Souls style adventure game where sometimes you'll just walk into a room and be impaled, and now you're reloading.
So, I mean, you talked about the spells changing
Yeah.
How much like are the puzzles different?
Oh yeah,
Like
they're
are the
super
rooms
they're
totally
super different. So there's 3 difficulty settings. I actually got so stuck on one difficulty setting that I actually restarted the game on an easier one just to
How
see.
do they change? How do they differ?
There's sort of like, it's kind of hard to explain. There's fewer mechanics, fewer puzzles. The puzzles are, I would say, less obtuse. For instance, in that first screen with the archway, like they're missing skulls.
Yeah.
And you have to like actually find those and plug those in. And as you plug those in, it changes sort of the makeup of the castle, makes it harder to navigate. In an easier difficulty setting, there are fewer of those skulls, so you have to find fewer of them. There are fewer changes. So my flame is actually, my torch is flickering out right now.
Uh-oh.
That's one of the great things about Shadowgate. And it's one of the things that I think is probably, when I say this, if you have any interest and haven't played these games before, it might scare you off. Shadowgate, much like its predecessor, has a time limit.
Yeah.
If you run out of torches,
You're toast.
you die. Well, you're not toast. If you had a torch, you would be toastier.
That's true.
If
you can no longer make toast.
if your torch dies, you fall to the ground and die.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing you just like
You're too scared.
You get so scared of the dark.
Yeah.
So you have to keep moving forward, picking up torches in rooms. You have to keep making progress in the game, because if you get too stuck for too long, you run out of torches and you lose. And you can very easily hit a point. There's another spell, which it doesn't explain what it does. You can look at the spells and they'll kind of give you like a very, very, very
vague.
Yeah, like it'll be like you look at this spell and you can imagine a stone
sure are
moving.
nice.
Yeah, something like that. So this is a very classic returning room.
Oh god, it's a dragon thing.
There's a dragon.
Take his gold.
No, sir. You got to use the shield on yourself and you equip it.
Yeah.
This game has like an inventory system that the original didn't have.
Okay.
In the original, you could like put items on yourself, but you didn't have like a clear indication of what you had on your person at any given time. In this one, you actually have like a visual indicator showing you what's up. Yeah, it's neat. It's like a nice effect. And there's like some like equipment that I found that, as far as I can tell, has no effect. It's just like a visual sort of thing for your character. Yeah, or like you see those glasses on that skull on the ground. Spoiler alert, I'm going to pick them up and put them on my face. And it's not going to have any effect, but maybe
it does later, though.
That's what I think. Like, I think there might be like a book or something. Okay, so my shield's gone. So now I know
Bummer.
It is time to bounce.
Okay, what did you accomplish apart from getting that skull?
I got a hammer, which I know I'm going to need later. It's kind of it almost makes it more challenging for me, because I know like I'm going to use that hammer to smash the mirrors in the Hall of Mirrors later. That's something from the original Shadowgate. I know that. But then like I'll get so certain about the solution to a puzzle that when I run into something that I kind of recognize or I don't recognize at all, it completely flummoxes me.
Yeah, I do wonder how someone would, like, how difficult it would be just coming at this totally raw.
It's super difficult. In fact, I would say if you have no experience, I would play it on the easiest difficulty setting, because it's still going to be very challenging. I'm still on this new run through I've been trying to do on the easier difficulty setting. I've still run into a lot of stuff that has completely hung me up, because it's a huge game. It's an enormous game, and you have this constant sense of dread and pressure of like, oh my god, am I going fast enough? Am I going to be able to get through this thing, or am I going to get myself to a point where like I'm at one end of the castle, I miss something on the other end of the castle, and I don't have enough torches to get back there. Not only that, what's super brutal is actually early on, and I think I capture it in this video, early on while you're exploring, you run into this banshee that attacks you and curses you, and that will also kill you eventually.
Okay.
And the cure for it is further on in the castle. So you're constantly needing to move forward, or else you get these like constant reminders of like, hey, you're cursed and you're coughing up blood and you're dying. So you better find a cure for this very quickly, or else you're dead meat.
This looks safe.
Yeah, those torches won't come out of the wall, which is a shame.
Bummer.
I really want those. So like all of the rooms are very...
the art is terrific.
Yeah, it's very good. The animations are very simple, but like the things they are animating are usually very... detailed and inventive, and like sometimes downright scary. I mean that's the fun thing. Like I used to get so scared of dying in this game when I was a little kid and playing it on NES, and now like the deaths are even more sort of fully. There's that banshee.
Oh God.
So now I'm cursed, and I have like a set number of turns before I die, and it's a lot. Like it's enough that you have time to get there, but you really can't dilly dally too much. So like this room is actually very familiar. Like I remember opening them up, and then there's mummies, and you can burn them. But it is a little bit. It is a little bit different because like in the original, there was like one of these had like green slime in it that would come out and attack you. That's not here. So it's very, very familiar, but it is also
maybe that's in one of the harder difficulty settings.
Maybe, yeah. I still haven't actually tried the game on the hardest difficulty setting, even though they say in the description of that difficulty setting that it's the one most closely resembling the original Shadowgate. I don't know that that's actually 100% true. It like I don't know. I've gotten so thoroughly stuck on stuff that just wasn't in the original Shadowgate. So I don't know. It's a weird type of game, and like conceptually, it's not the kind of game I go for. Like puzzle or adventure games for me, I usually go for the ones where solutions are obvious if you like really think about it.
Yeah. And
in this game, there are a lot of puzzles that just like the solution's not obvious, and it almost requires you to experiment with stuff and just keep clicking on items in your inventory and clicking on them on areas of the map. There's actually some pretty clever, a lot of the solutions are involved like using an item on something or using a spell on something, which can get kind of tiresome, but they have actually a lot of really clever shortcuts. There's like keyboard shortcuts for all the different commands at the top of the screen. Cool. Yeah. You can also double click on any of those commands and it locks it. So if I double click take, then all I have to do is I just can click on something and it'll automatically take it. Now I got that shield. What's up now, Goblin?
Yeah.
Get out of here, Gerblin. I haven't figured out how to kill him. There might be a way. I don't know.
Throw the arrow back at him.
I actually think I might have tried that in another way. I actually remember from the original Shadowgate what I need that arrow for. Oh, he's back.
That is a lot of skull. Oh, no.
I don't know. I might need these bones and skulls later to build an altar or something.
Is there a limit to how much stuff you can carry?
No, you can carry infinity, which can get kind of problematic.
Oh, yeah, speak to him. No?
Yeah, I tried.
The cave doesn't hear you. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I remember this old chestnut. If I try
one of these bridges looks safe.
Yeah, one of them's great. Punch that brazier. No,
you're punching a lot of stuff.
No purchase there. Well, sometimes it's great. Sometimes punching things is helpful.
It's life, really.
Yeah, life is just a collection of punches.
Yeah.
Just gonna try the bridge. Ah, shit.
Well, yeah.
That'll happen.
You needed the wing boots, probably.
If I remember correctly, there's like a spell you need, and that's like one of the last things you do in the game. There he is again.
Yeah, you really need to like have the tolerance for a game like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm really not trying to make a pun, but it is uninviting. Like it is not an enjoyable experience, I would say, for a lot of people. What's up?
But I think there are people that would be like, even if you haven't played it, like the idea of like, finally getting past a certain room would be really rewarding.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's one of those games where every challenge is like genuinely very challenging. Like and there's a lot of backtracking. It almost has like, and I think this is probably true for a lot of the MacVenture games, kind of has almost like a Metroidvania feel to it, like gear gating and having to go back and like, oh god, now that I know this spell, I can get past that room that I got stuck on when I started playing the game, like 5 minutes in. Now I can finally get that progress, and you will get so stuck that when you do finally get some forward momentum and unlock like another huge part of the castle, it's very, very satisfying.
Yeah.
Here's the rope room. Epor is like a spell from the first game, and if I can remember, I think it just makes a rope go up. So like not the best spell. Here it's written on the walls, but you can't actually learn it. It's not actually a spell that you can learn. In this game. So another one of those.
Epor, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like rope.
So yeah, like it's a very, very original game. I don't know that people have actually made games like those MacVenture games. I like them a lot, which is weird, because I typically don't go for adventure games that aren't Quest for Glory. But I really like it. It's very hard. There's some stuff in this remake that doesn't work super well. You can see I have that skull in the top left corner there that is supposed to be like, I got the Torchbearer achievement. Cool. That's supposed to be like my hint.
Okay.
So if I get like super stuck, I can ask him things.
Yeah.
And almost always the hints that he gives me are Clown Town.
Oh, really?
They are
not at all useful.
They're not. Sometimes like many things in this game, like they are just like very vague hints. Sometimes there's like, there's just not hints at all. He's like, boy, I'm tired. Or he'll say, you've been cursed by the Banshee. You need to find a cure for it. Like, thanks. I'm trying to move forward. My torch is about to burn out. So he's not, and sometimes like he'll just have like interstitial, there's no voice acting, thank Christ. But there's just like interstitial goofs like, boy, it sure is smelly in this bag, or something like that. It's like when you're so frustrated and like trying to figure out how to like not get killed by this wyvern, and he's like, I miss my body. It's a little bit frustrating.
Yeah. Old skullhead.
There's some also cool stuff where you can see I have that hammer now bound to the 2 key, so you can bind keys to like your different. Yeah. So if there's objects that you use a lot, like a torch or that hammer or a sword or something, then you can bind it to a hotkey, and then you don't have to go through all the interface. It is a very thoughtful remake that is not just. I think for adventure games, especially, like if they had just done a straight port, I would have beaten it already, and it wouldn't have been especially satisfying. But they managed to get that nostalgia factor in there while also like throwing a lot of challenges that are very much in the vein of the original Shadowgate into the mix. For honestly, for better and worse, because I didn't beat Shadowgate until I was like 25 years old, because it's like, it's a crazy obtuse game. And now it is the most obtuse it's ever been. But it's like one of those games that like I'll play for an hour and like make it get like a centimeter of progress and just be like, screw it, I'm done. Yeah. And then I'll close it, and then like 30 minutes later I'll be like, all right, I gotta move forward. Yep. Like it's very
that Banshee curse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know that I could stomach it again, but I know there are people that would like, especially fans of it. That
definitely. If you're a fan of the original Shadowgate, it is by virtue of the fact that they have added a lot to it that is so like true to the spirit of the original Shadowgate. They haven't like shoehorned any like bullshit in.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely worth playing. If you're an adventure game fan, I don't know. I feel like if you haven't played a Mac Venture game, it's such a one-of-a-kind sort of almost genre to itself that I definitely think it's worth checking out. Whether you'll actually enjoy it or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've been enjoying it, but I'm apparently crazy for this one. So.
Sure.
Anyway, that's Shadowgate. I'm going to put this video up without us talking over it, because I actually have a lot more that I've captured from the first part of Shadowgate. So if you want more like examples of what it's doing differently and stuff, then you can check that out. Here I have to... The answer to this puzzle is like in this scroll, which it's such a like, again, like vague hint that you could so easily miss, and then like that's your whole game at that point. Anyway, yeah, so check out that other video if you want to see more of Shadowgate, and it's out, I think, this Thursday or Wednesday. I don't know.
On Steam and stuff?
On Steam and stuff, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back with more stuff real soon. I gotta do something about this curse, though.